Yalla, infidels. We're back at YouTube, Hamin Media Group, and Bin Hamin, the MROVW channel. Big sales going down. And these are the Steves I know, infidels. And it's TikTok, never the nuts, never the Glock, just some nuts and a cock, robbing motherfuckers. And then we kill them block when I step through the fog and I creep through the smog. Because it's Snoop Doggy, dog. Yalla, infidels, doggy style all morning long here on your Friday locker room. It's the only way you're going to get over with Strangler Steve. Yeah. Big money, big nuts, and a big fat chronic sack. Steve, what's up, man? How you doing this morning, Striz?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the Friday locker room, man. This is a pleasure. Man. I always love being in with the veterans, if you will. You know what I mean?
I'm the young boy. I'm the young boy. You're the veteran.
You put your time in, brother. Don't fucking undersell yourself. But it's always great getting to talk to the Andrew Bello and Billy Ray Valentine on the Wednesday locker room because they have the passion of the fan. You know, that ardent flame of wrestling love. But it's always great to hear, the voice of somebody who's in the know and in the loop and can, have the ability to see around the corner like you and I do. So we can kind of, wax poetic on like the trueness of what happens in the wrestling business and why things are in the state that they're in.
I agree completely. I laid it down on Russo brand on the Raw and SmackDown review of what I thought happened Monday. We'll follow up on that today. I definitely want to hear your thoughts and see. I'm almost 100% sure they'll line up with mine as we talked briefly off air. But yeah, man, the Friday Vet locker room, the day after the madness that we told them was coming, man. I don't care. The old I told us so, but I told us so. Whether it's talking to Jacob Allman about SmackDown when he thinks numbers are going to go to a 3.5 and they're at a steady 1.7, and they smile on their face and goes, we understand all the problems you're telling us. We're hoping for a positive, creative solution. Yeah. How'd that work out 18 months later for you? Oh, you didn't see this leftist road we're driving down and what the destination was at the end of it? Oh, absolutely, they all did. And yesterday they saw it come to fruition, whether it's theater of the absurd for whatever audience and they're bussing in Antifa trying to put it on, conservative. It doesn't matter. It's more theater and it's more bullshit problem, reaction, solution. And when they're putting a gallows outside of the Capitol, people are like, unfriend me if you think this is all right. Dude, I'm a Jeffersonian level patriotic Hitchens level atheist, which means I don't go in for any of your mind control church bullshit that God is creating this country for whatever reason. And at the same time, you're using that for mind control to try and seize fucking power. And that means you don't have any fear of the peasants. Well, guess what? The peasants will build the gallows and put the fear in you. So yesterday, whatever they want to fucking lament about on mainstream news, and this is the darkest day. This is one of the realest days in America after 40 years, 60 years of assassination and cabal bullshit being run by a fucking secular group of families that have used dozens of mind control opportunities and war profiteering opportunities to line their pockets and think they were going to become the ruling class. Well, now they can be hunted where they sleep. And to me, that's a beautiful day.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has been around longer than a minute, I mean, anybody can. If you went to high school, you learned about the French Revolution and let them eat cake. You're living through history again. This is the history repeating itself with, power grabs and money grab and, the hostile takeover of your personal rights as not just an American citizen, but as a human being on the earth. Like I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, like she was saying, you coop everybody up for an entire year, you destroy industry after industry. And what do you think is going to happen? And when you have, quote unquote, both sides, which by the way is the same coin, regardless of what side it claims to be on, saying, one side Stokes, hate against the left, one side Stokes hate against the right. So we're all in this, beating each other up. Meanwhile, they're all laughing on Capitol Hill until shit like yesterday happened.
Right?
Right. And then they all start, get ushered into the basement. Oh, I thought the basement was a bad place to be. Didn't we? Everybody shamed Trump for being in the basement like 2 months ago. And now all of a sudden, hey, you and we're in the silo right now. And this whole left-right paradigm bullshit that people have bought into for the last 100 years is such a bunch of bullshit that I wish people could see through that crap and look at it like myself, I've always been an independent thinker. I'm a registered voter, even though I'm very disenfranchised with the entire system. I understand what it really is, but you need to think critically on your own 2 feet and do your own research. Don't just listen to one MSNBC or Fox News or even Newsmax and think this is the way it is. You have to research and see what the truth is of going down here. Look, you have to have the ability to look around the corner and say, what are they booking for tomorrow? And that's, I think, why our strength is, you and I being in the wrestling industry, not to say that it gave us, extra wisdom, but as you in the wrestling business, your job as a booker is to plot out a year's worth of business and what's going to get people to react and get money out of their pocket to go and watch this thing happen. And you've seen problem, reaction, solution in wrestling forever now. And now, like, you're seeing it in politics. It's clear as day. And when you have cable news networks that are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, having to come up with more and more and more angles to perpetuate this fear that you have to tune in to watch, simply so that they can raise their ad rates, so they can sell Scope and fucking Listerine on television at a higher rate. It all becomes very apparent of what it is we're seeing there. They just want you to be glued to your television so you can find out where to hide and who to be afraid of and point fingers at for blaming everybody. But essentially, we're the ones that allow it to happen, because you saw yesterday, there's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah, and that was a tiny slice yesterday.
That's what I'm saying.
Representative, and here's how clueless the media is. They're not being Gene Okerlund and getting the promo. Now they are making themselves the character of lament, right. And these incredible images we're seeing coming in. I just can't. You absolutely can believe it, you cocksuckers, because you were the ones driving the Uber to destination fucking Destructo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then
so
they're the ones stoking the flames.
I want to see that same thing yesterday happen at Fox News, at CNN, and I just watch Matt and them running out in total fear, because without that fear factor, nothing changes for them. And if Anderson Cooper's got to get strung up and fucking hit with baseball bats for 5 hours, so fucking be it. So be it.
Yeah. Put it on pay-per-view.
CIA operative worm and the damage he's done to this fucking entire world.
Yeah, they're all complicit. Media, I was going to say, is 100% complicit in stoking people's insanity. And if you're a person that ends up getting to that level of, you're listening to these people and you're eating out of their hands, shame on you for not being a critical thinker and seeing what they're doing to stoke tensions. All it is just them, playing with your emotions and pulling your strings to make you react in the way that they want you to react. It's the person that stays cool in the cut that can oversee the entire layout and go, okay, this is completely bullshit from top to bottom. Those are the ones who are going to survive all this, the people who keep their heads cool.
Freedom of speech, gone. We're pulled from Twitch. Freedom of assembly, not after last night. Full lockdown in DC and whatever else they want to do. There's a reaction and solution. And freedom of the press, what a fucking laughable joke that is.
And the thing is
when all three of those are gone, what's the next one on the list?
Yep. And the thing is that they have mastered the plan of making the citizens be the ones that ask for the removal of these fucking amendments of the Constitution of freedom. You go to a college, you can't say that, you can't say this. Well, I'm a huge proponent of freedom of speech, and even if I don't agree with you, I'll respect your right to speak your mind. It's up to the person who's listening to be the one to decipher, is this bullshit or is this something that has any kind of credibility to it? And if you cannot decipher that, if you do not have that mental filter, fucking shame on you.
Well, that's the thing. They stopped the mental filter of, I'm the one who gets to decide, and is trying to quell other people's language. Well, what the fuck right do you have to tell me anything? Who the fuck did you ever beat, queer deer, at Twitch?
Yeah.
Like none of that's going down. And they know what the end game is. The end game for them is queer deer gets fired. Hamin Media comes back on with an untouchable channel, and we do what we want. But they want to push, and this is just one little our own in-house thing. They keep wanting to push these things every which way they go. And when it comes back to fucking destroy them, they're like, oh my God, how could this be? And it was us. Fuck, what was you? Fuck, what was everything that happens to you? It is all just desserts. And you knew it was coming, but you want to play ignorant while you just keep needling the whole time, year after year after year after year. And now here it is.
Yep, they're getting exactly what they wanted, essentially. But I would love to have a mole in like the fucking press room where these guys all sit before they go on air to go over their angles for the night. You know how all those like talking points sometimes get leaked out, and like, here's the Democratic talking points, here's the Republican talking points, and like the agenda that you see being laid out, like regardless of who's president over the last several years, like you said, since the Kennedy assassination, it doesn't matter if it had an R next to their name or a D next to their name, but the essentially the push has always been the same, of pushing towards this fucking socialist communist agenda of less rights, less power, less community, less property. You know, they want to take everything away. That so you're dependent on the government dole of the UBI and all those types of things. Like there was this picture on the internet I saw maybe a month ago, and it was this lion that is in a cage, kept away from the other lions because he's safe now and won't fucking have to worry about his. You know, he's fed a meal every day. He's, you know, maintained where they have the lion out in Serengeti, and which one looks healthy and which one looks like he's deteriorating. It's the one who's able to fend for himself and have the freedom of life and choice that does much, much better than the one who's being Beautiful. Quote unquote taken care of. And it's, yeah, here you are, you're seeing the king of the jungle in his prime. You know, yeah, he's going to eat a gazelle. That's how he stays alive. If the gazelle was better, he'd be faster, he would have gotten away, and the lion would have had to wait another day. The one that sits in there and gets the fucking quote unquote UBI, this free steak every day, he's withering into nothing.
Give a man a fish, he'll live for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll live forever, right? Or eat forever. I love that, especially all you guys out there know, all you young lions, this is your kingdom. You know, this is the place to be. The Hamin Media Group, we're appreciative to have each other, even if we're being restricted right now. That only reinforces, again, we sit back on the hill and watch Rome burn, or in this case, DC. So, covered it last night on the Horsemen.
Well, Rome and DC are the exact same thing. It's just a matter of the difference of skin, where everything started in Egypt and then was transferred to Rome. Rome was transferred to Germany. Germany was then transferred to the United States. And now you're seeing the slow transfer of the United States being transferred to China. This is like a slow progression. It's the same business. It's Capital Wrestling going into the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, going into WWF, going into Titan Sports, going into WWE. Essentially, it's the exact same company with a different name. It's a rebranding, but the same power is still in charge. And you saw this with Operation Paperclip, where they took, Werner von Braun and the entire, all these Nazis and brought them into the United States to run NASA. You know, NASA, Nazi, they're all come from the same word of Nazi is Nasi, which was a Jewish scholar, at one point. So, I mean, there's ties that go back to the beginning of civilization of we're under the same, bloodlines that we've been under for thousands of generations at this point. It's just a matter of what you want to call it. You want to call it Egypt? You want to call it United States of America, or you want to call it China? It's the same people in charge, regardless. It's the same families.
And it takes one night to eliminate those 1,000 people. That's all it does, And I don't think it put the fear in them yesterday. They just seen the opportunity. But I'm hoping that this uprising, even though it's at winter time and they know it, and winter is here, so they can lay low. You wait till spring. This whole experiment could be over. Rip was predicted 2 years, the end of America. I think it may even be quicker than that after where we are now. And Stevie and I were talking as he was working out just a little while ago, and he believes that, and they show it in that Songbird movie with COVID-21 and how that just happened to be made and come out with all, your favorite stars. And it
you're paranoid. That's just a coincidence.
All right, I'm a fucking idiot. That these cities are circled with 30, 60-foot walls, and there's those who've been vaccinated and those who haven't. And now we're split into this post-apocalyptic colonies that surround cities where the people in the cities are all on UBI, living off the teat and have no functional skills to survive. And they become these little microcosms that way where if you want to go visit New York City again, oh, believe me, when you cross the Triborough Bridge, you're going to fucking have full scans. You're going to fucking DNA, all that to make sure you've been vaccinated. Or you're going to live in between Syracuse and Buffalo and your own fucking homestead. And if anybody comes within 150 miles of your small community, postman-wise, they are either going to get fucking smoked or put into some lockdown as well as an outsider. So that is the dystopian future. That's about 2037 of where we will still have to go and play things out. And because they're going to do this great reset in 2025, great, what have you. And maybe giving these toddlers the 357 fully loaded and giving them the house in these dystopian shit times is exactly what needs to be done for this to be ended. You know what I mean? So it was, right where we predicted in the timeline.
Yeah.
Go
and everybody
back
who says, "Oh, you're full of shit," has to just go back to 2 years ago when we were talking about this stuff. Then, I mean, you and we've been talking about this shit for fucking 10 years. But then, like, no, it's not going to happen. Well, that needed to, because they eventually justify it through some sort of idiocracy. Sure. But then, like, it's if you have any ability, like I said earlier, to see around the corner, you can see what they're planning for. But I'll take my chance with the Mad Maxers over the fucking plugged into the fucking dystopian, megaplex city, megalopolis, New York City. If I never have to go to New York City again, I think I'll be all right with it. Know, I'll be on the plains, like hunting fucking, furvals and shit for sustenance.
Yeah,
I'd rather take my chances there.
They'll be the ones who are starving because they have no way to grow food. They're the ones who are going to be eating fake 3D printed meat made from meat pastes and things along those lines, because they'll have no way to generate their own sustenance. And who is Biden putting in as the head of the Food and Drug Administration?
Right? That guy from the GMOs.
From Monsanto. Yeah. So if you fucking dumb bastards, and I know this is falling on deaf ears because all Hamin Media Group members who are listening right now are on the same page with us anyway, but whatever dumb bastard in your family still needs to be woken up. How can they not be after this? And if not, then you kind of got to write them off. I got to say this, and I've talked to you about this, and this is just one of those small things in my own psyche that plagues me, and this really has nothing to do with, well, I guess it does. One of my best friends I've talked to you about who kind of cut me off. I like everything him and his wife, or common law wife, put in, both big time actors in Chicago, right? And just under the complete spell the last 4 years, doing everything and promoting everything that is the line of bullshit. And this guy was a avid Opie and Anthony listener, and was with it, the Patrice O'Neal with that mindset. And now 180 degrees. I haven't talked to him, dude. I got him part of our crew tatted on my fucking back. You've seen it,
yeah. And
fucking, for no reason that I know of whatsoever, complete silence for 3 years. I lived with the dude for 2-3 years. Wow. My best friend. No reason given. I reach out on New Year's Eve via Instagram. Hey, man, I'm hoping we can connect in 2021, whatever the heat is. I hope it's passing. We can do something cool and work together. Complete silence. Today I woke up and went, enough of this. Unfollow both of them. Best friends, bro. Yeah. That's where they want to push it and go down that road. Because they know we're at the destination, and I reach out, not even trying to big league in some, hey, like, hey, man, I miss you. I hope we can do this. And he can't even come out of the woodwork in a week. Fucking do that. I'm done, bro. It's time for me to move on in my life. And that was a tough thing to do this morning, but it was almost freeing a little bit. And that's kind of what yesterday brought me to, because I've been everything yesterday. Sure, they can say vote scam and whatever in the present day. Everything yesterday is all of this right here. From JFK to 9/11 to Sandy Hook to Vegas to Parkland to fucking for-profit wars for weapons of mass destruction lies, for fucking $350 George Bush payoff checks, to fucking whatever you want to fucking go through, and I can give you the laundry list. Or you can go back and listen to every conspiracy horseman and lay it out. That's what yesterday was. It wasn't just for some Georgia, Michigan ballots. It is the constant push against what is right, proper, and is the way to go in your gut to live a free and open life. Meanwhile, we don't want to overthrow this fake play of America that is still hashed as nostalgia, but really the social liberties have all been gone since 2001. And it's been living under that guise that the kettle boiled over yesterday. So to me, all of that was encompassed in what it was, not just some little stupid who's going to control the Senate bullshit. Right. This is everything from I can go get my hair done, but you have to be locked in your house. Look at my ice cream freezer with $7,000 worth of ice cream in it. Meanwhile, you're eating fucking ramen noodles. It's all that.
Yeah.
Let them die. Let them fucking, dude. And you could go to Fox News, whoever it is, MSNBC, CNN, bring Rachel Maddow and them out. Link them up with fucking chains around their legs, hook them to Gravedigger, and fucking rip right down Manhattan Boulevard at fucking 70 miles an hour till there's nothing left, like the fucking dog in Family Vacation. And I wouldn't have that is what's going to change America, to let people know for the next 100 years, you will never try this shit again around here.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know if you saw my tweet last night, but everybody's like all up in arms. I just tweeted out a picture of the Joker eating popcorn, and I wrote, "All the world's a stage," you know. And I said, hashtag don't forget the popcorn, because it's a big joke. The whole thing is just a big fucking joke from beginning to end. And if you don't see that, you know, sorry on you. And this goes to all the guys, regardless of either side, whether you're a leftist, whether you're a rightist, I don't give a fuck. If you write, whatever the situation, if you don't X, Y, and Z, then unfriend me now. Now, I don't care if I agree or disagree with whatever it is they're actually saying. I unfriend them. Because if you and I can't possibly get along on one, no one agrees with everything that you do, you know. So if we can't have a difference of opinion on any level, because it's all, if you don't agree with me, unfriend me. I just unfriend whoever says that constantly. I unfriended like 6 people yesterday. I unfriended people like a month ago. Like, you know what? Because I don't care. If you and I don't agree, so fucking be it. Can we not agree to disagree? Can we not debate anymore? Can we not have an open idea? If you don't have exactly the same thoughts that I do, then I don't want to be friends.
I don't want to hear any outside thing that could shake me from my little confident fucking bubble of this is the America that I pledge of allegiance for since second grade. Like, that's a fucking lie. You know it is. And the fact that here's some real truth challenging that, then just unfriend me. I fucking couldn't have that in my life. But shout out already here, 23 strong. Society Reviews in the house, did some great work this week for us propaganda wise. My man Brando's in the house, local dude I've known forever, man. Kaz, obviously our other propaganda artist. Media M5, Frank's Pickle Barrel ass, always hitting strong in here, man, early in the morning. Craig Thomas Horsley, all the great interactors, nobody worth to remember. Well, let's not say that. And Rat Salad Review, our own affiliate over there at Hamin Media Group, Infidels, doing a real big Friday locker room. Hamin Media Group. But we're having a good time with it. Steve loves that.
Now that I know where it comes from.
But yeah, man. Crazy shit. Last night I watched the first hour of AEW. I'll be back with MSG and the Chris Silvio this afternoon, so I'll watch the second hour. I was just watching Snoop Dogg bring down Cody, and then I hear Snoop D-O double Jizzy hits the dog splash. So we got that to fucking get through. But yeah, man, I would say, with the exception of 9/11, and maybe I would put the Oklahoma City bombing up there. Yesterday was the third biggest day in American history in the time we've been alive.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely up there. It was like one of those moments that you're gonna have to see. It's gonna be a part of your life forever. Like that dude with the horns standing, you know, at the top of the desk there, like with his, you know, that picture. Like now you say, now I have to look at. I thought this morning because that picture was everywhere on every feed. I'm like, this is gonna have to be a part of my life now for the rest of my life. It's like almost assault to me that I have to see this and be fucking PTSD'd every time I see this fucking picture. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna fucking bend you over and fuck you in the ass with this photo fucking 700 times to Sunday this week alone, just so they burn it in your memory forever. Just like seeing like the second plane explode in the, you know, the South Tower, whatever tower was hit secondly. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one, but it's like those things that they you know, they're crafting their narrative right now. So you're gonna have to always see that image in your face. The day America went dark, and January 6th will be a day that will live in infamy in 2021. And like, this is the 6th day of January. Boy, I wish it was 2020 all over again. Like, oh, here we fucking go. Yep. So like when Obama became president, you had people putting memes up of George W. Bush, miss me yet? And then as soon as Obama's no longer in office, and you have Trump in office, then has pictures of Obama. Miss me yet? It's like, oh, would you fucking please just let me live my fucking life without having to see this shit 24/7? If
you line up Clinton, Bush, and Obama right next to each other, like chest to back, you could probably get all three of them with 130-06 round right through the fucking chest. I don't think it's going to slow down.
Perhaps.
Save some money on ammo. Dude, we're there. The riot squad, they're not protesters, they're calling them rioters. And again, that is just another reason to turn the hate and do the V for Vendetta on what he does, the BBC knockoff, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they all got to burn. So I'm hoping the next one of these riotous acts, as we are in civil war, make no mistake about it. At this point,
well, they'll be eaten alive by their own, like they were during the George Floyd thing when they were pulling the CNN letters off of the building in Georgia. So they can't help but shoot themselves in the foot every chance they get. And the more that they're on TV, this 24/7 news cycle, the more that they're going to be complicit, and the more that they're going to stoke their own haters, and then they eventually will be eaten alive. The Frankenstein's monster will come for them.
What is it? God Bless America? Was that Joel Murray's film that pretty much outlined this kind of from the falling down single man and his daughter's standpoint, where they go on a dark revenge filled, like righting the wrongs of society kill spree? It's a Bobcat Goldthwait film, a very dark comedy, but check it out. I think God Bless America is the title. Joel Murray, but that's just that's an individual perspective. Now they fucked up and got everybody together because of it. And, we've got some demands.
No bread, no water, just meat. That's all he wants. That's all he needs.
And that's what we're going to get at the end of the day. But we've talked big already. 28 minutes here on the Friday Veteran Locker Room with the Striz, award-winning podcast of the year here at Hamin Media Group, the Wednesday Locker Room.
Think about how many voters you have now that are disenfranchised to HMG because you just took it and ran with it and gave it to us.
What are you gonna do, man? I haven't heard one person speak up and go, you know what? That was bullshit. Conspiracy Horseman is the best. Because if you listen to Wednesday Locker Room, no one's gonna go, well, he's got a fucking point. Yeah. To me, Wednesday Locker Room is the heart and soul of Hamin Media Group Interactive and community, and what you do and what Billy Ray does on the conspiracy side and what Bello does to keep the wrestling and even on his political side. Everyone's got great pet projects, but they come home to the Wednesday Locker Room in the middle of the week. That is a foundation and pillar show of the Hamin Media Group franchise, and that was an easy call because that's who I voted for. And if I'm Conspiracy Horseman of the Year and our show win it, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Hey, it's your name on the door, brother. I won't argue with that. No, that was really nice of you to do that. I do appreciate it, and I'm glad that a lot of people do like to reach out to us every Wednesday and say how much they like the show, and they tweet at us and tag us all in that, and that's really cool. And we're just building up our own little community, and we do try to make it seem like its own little kind of island show. And I do think it does that really well. It does stand out on its own 2 feet, I do believe. But I'll tell you, man, and I've said this on the show this week, and I tell it to the guys in our private chat every week, like, it is getting fucking hard to talk about Raw, man.
It's bad, bro.
Every week it's like a challenge. Like I think I sit there and go, I can't just. There has to be some, silver lining to all this.
It's
getting harder, man.
It is getting harder to breathe, dude. There's no doubt about that. And I'm just trying to look for this story real quick because that kind of plays right into what you're saying here. So I'm just waiting for head. There it is. Because I cut this apart on Raw and SmackDown review on Russo's brand, and I think I nailed
it. I brought it up actually on the Wednesday Locker Room this week. About, it's exactly what must have happened. Vince wakes up in the middle of the night, decides he wants to change 2 segments, but didn't change the last bit of the business, and kept Goldberg in the wrong spot. It was 100% what happened, because if not, then that makes Goldberg a heel for shoving a babyface champion on his ass. And Drew looks like a pussy now, not fucking retaliating, because if a babyface gets pushed, push comes to shove, so not hitting back or whatever, it hurts Drew's credibility. And it already took a ding this year, having to do a 2-week job to Randy Orton before getting the belt back. So
And that was supposed
another
to be a
chink in the
ha-ha
armor.
moment with all the veterans pointing, the legends pointing at Randy after he gets pushed down. But it wasn't Randy. It was Drew who did Brother, We Love You with Hogan earlier. So the madness inside McMahon's mind is gone completely insane. And not even the fact of that, too, to double down on that, we left on Alexa Bliss about to be burned by Orton. We should have come back right to that. Instead, with that switch at the end, then he calls an audible for a 27-minute opening segment where Miz and Morrison douchebag billboard the show, blow off all the legend stuff, bring out New Day to have a holla holla tag match, Teddy Long appearance, only to try and fix it right after with a shitty Randy Orton promo where he goes, I couldn't drop the match and kill her. Even those guys are a known arsonist. That he's burned out many things. Just so Vince can, they go, well, we wrap that up. Now let's get to the Legend Killer biz. Do the Legend Killer biz, which was good through the whole show, and then fucking change it at the end.
It's insane.
Do it. Like, you couldn't have more of a mad king making the most wrong choices, and his group of consiglieres around him is all that not standing up and going, time out, bro. We're all going to look like complete retards, and everyone is going to eat you alive. But then ratings go up because of the Legends reason that they're booked at 2.1 this week, and Vince is going to go, see, I told you what I was doing.
I still got it.
It's fucked. It is fucking trash, bro.
This is the allegory of the Emperor's New Clothes, where nobody wants to tell him that he's standing in the street buck naked. Like, just take your check and shut the fuck up and don't fucking upset the apple cart. What they're doing is managing the demise of the business and trying to take as much money out for themselves while they can, because they don't want to stand up to the fucking Emperor and have him be like, off with your head. You know, there's zero defense of what happened on Monday, and it's ridiculous to think that Vince is really losing it. He's 75. He's burnt himself out into a complete nothingness. He's trying to fucking produce like 11 hours of live content every week. I mean, this is a ridiculous workload that even 8 guys that are 25 would be burnt out doing this shit. So I don't know why he thinks he can do this. They've copied and pasted the same format for years now, where they go to commercial break at the exact. You could take a stopwatch and you can pick off.
But not even that now. That format, they're fucking the creative in the format. So even the predictable format is shot. I'm like, how worse could you do, bro?
Here's a shitty piece of example. At one point during the main event match between the champion Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee, and they're having an all right match, and all of a sudden it takes everything for Drew McIntyre to fucking pick up Keith Lee on the outside and power bomb him through the table. Oh my God, we're coming back right after this, because they do that every time there's an outside spot or a dive. We're going to break. They come back from the break. Keith Lee is back up on his feet in the ring, putting heat on Drew McIntyre. Like, wait a minute. This motherfucker who's 400 pounds was just laid out against the table, power bombed by the champion, who 280 pounds, 6'5" muscle man. And here he is back up on his feet with no explanation given. What? So there doesn't need to be psychology in wrestling anymore, because this is the number one company and the number one primetime, wrestling spot. And it doesn't need to happen, apparently, because you don't need to learn psychology anymore, because they don't apply it in WWE anymore.
How's that working out for them?
Right. It doesn't work out, because we get, like you said, they're up in a 2.1 thinking we got this in the bag, baby. Like, meanwhile, they opened the show, like you said, it should be the cliffhanger of what happened to Alexa Bliss, but you get it. I don't know if it, like, how you watch it. You don't watch it on show. She wasn't even on the show. You don't get the cable feed, so I'm not sure if you get every single point on the show. Like Billy Ray watches on Hulu, so he gets an abridged version.
I watched I see it all.
Did you see the Hulk Hogan part where they really opened with his cell phone?
With the H phone, bro?
Yeah, like, brother, I do Instagramming and Facebook on my phone, dude. Like, what? First of all, that's not funny. 68-year-olds aren't funny. They're not cool. They're not hip. Hulk Hogan is nostalgic. He's not funny. He's not cool. He's nostalgic. They go out there and say, hey, brother, hey, dude, not I Instagram on my phone. See how woke I am?
The H phone and that type of, what was that even?
Stupid. It's not an iPhone. It's an H phone, dude. Like, all right. So are we selling these? Is this something that we're going with? No, it's just the stuff. It's just the way
Vince got a new iPhone 12. Somebody got it for him, Declan and them, and he's pumped money. And he's the iPhone. How about the H phone? Let's do that in that spot. Like, I can see it being as that fucking retarded grandfather level. That's why that spot is in there, bro.
These guys have to stop thinking they're funny. They have to stop thinking they're funny. Whenever you think you're funny, chances are you're not. If you're not naturally funny, you can't write humor for somebody because the timing isn't there. They don't have the delivery capability to do it. Hulk Hogan was never a guy that did like comedy spots. He never. So to have him doing this shit, by the way, I couldn't even believe you even remembered all that unless they had like a cue card right over the fucking camera. And because half of the promo was his hands around his telephone. You know, he's looking, his head's not even in the shot, which is ridiculous.
Did you see Tony Khan and Shivani's promo this week on? Did you see Shivani reading it?
Yes, it's disgusting. Like, you know who used to do that was Bobby Heenan. It used to drive me nuts. But like, even a guy that's been on TV for 30 years, how are you doing that? Like, push your lips together for Christ's sake. Like, how do you not know you're doing that? Don't you watch your own shit back and go, wait, let's do that again?
Who's an owner reading a fucking promo off a teleprompter?
Oh, it's so fucking terrible, buddy.
Oh, it's so perfect. The decision to go ahead with Drew McIntyre versus WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg at the upcoming Royal Rumble event was made on Saturday. According to Dave, they made that on Saturday and they couldn't fix that script in 48 hours. Everyone's fired. Meltzer noted that the match was penciled in as a new main event for WWE's first pay-per-view of 2021, a few days before Goldberg confronted McIntyre on Monday Night Raw. After McIntyre successfully defended his WWE Championship against Keith Lee, Goldberg came out and accused McIntyre of not respecting the WWE legends who came before him. He then challenged McIntyre to a title match at the Royal Rumble. That was all supposed to be for Orton. So even the way that our good friends over at Wrestle Stink are writing this is in a Mark idiot type of way. Shocker.
Yeah, they won't be critical of The Office because they want to get their free WrestleMania journalism passes. That's why.
Yeah, well, they can suck two dicks. The Observer added Goldberg showing up on Raw wasn't a swerve or a last-minute call because WWE brass decided over the weekend that they had nobody ready to face McIntyre at the Royal Rumble and felt Goldberg was the best choice. Goldberg previously called out Roman Reigns, and there are rumors of them facing off at WrestleMania 37. There's no word yet if WWE plans to go ahead with Goldberg versus Reigns. Goldberg reportedly has 2 matches per year on his WWE contract, which runs through 2023.
Good Lord.
This touch hole had to smash his fucking head into a wall to come out and cut a promo that wasn't even for the right guy.
Right.
This guy is terrible. He's always been terrible. And it's everybody, even fans were like, well, Raw was kind of enjoyable, except for the end. I didn't understand it. Well, yeah, because it was a total fuck job. And they're like, not Goldberg again. And I've heard that Drew is hot. Because they're going to put Goldberg over on him. Of
course. And, I had heard that originally that the plan was for Goldberg to go up against Reigns, and Reigns was like, ain't happening. Yeah. I'm not doing a job to fucking Goldberg. This is just simply not going to happen.
Why won't you say it? Drew should not show up for Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I know, but here's the good thing is that if Reigns did do that, good on him, because he's sticking up for his fucking business, because he's doing a good job as the head of the family thing, and that's fine, and they could go way deeper. Like I've heard you say, like he can go a lot deeper with that character, but at least he had the balls to be like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We're not doing that. So now, okay, well then fine, we'll have Drew do the fucking job. Like you're injuring this property, and this is why in 5 years we have the legends left.
This is the perfect opportunity with Roman saying no. Then they try and put it on Drew. Drew needs this. This is where the solidarity to control your own creative needs to happen right now. And if Drew goes through with this and lays it down, then to be honest with you, I mean, I'm a huge Drew guy, always awesome to me, but he deserves everything he gets going forward in his career, or doesn't get, to be at that level, because he didn't stand up for his business when he's on top, bro. Like, what's Vince gonna fucking really do? Come back and punish him like Lana? The people will be like, we're done. They're already saying that. They lost 540,000 people on Raw this year, down 26%.
Yeah, they should be thanking the heavens above that they have anybody watching this crap. And I said to the guys on Wednesday, I'm like, COVID was like a fucking low-key blessing for WWE, because if they were out touring this shit right now, they wouldn't be able to give away 1,500 tickets to people sitting through 3 hours of this shit.
What was it beforehand? I mean, how quickly we forget about Hamin's Tarp Emporium.
Exactly. I was saying that to the guys. Like, remember when people were taking pictures and tweeting them out of pictures of the hard cam side? There's not a soul over there, and they were trying to. They'd have 1,500 people who had bought tickets, and they'd have another like 3,000 that they papered the house with. and nobody stays to the end. You can see that it's getting thin. Even on camera shots, you're seeing it slip through because it's that apparent at this point that there's no way that this shit would be drawing anybody at this point. Maybe they kind of shot themselves in the foot by going to the big arenas and shit like that, because whenever there's any kind of blip in business, it's going to be tough to keep those places full. They should have just stayed in like the Capitol Wrestling Center or whatever it was. There was no need to do any of the shit. Like, even when they were drawing, they should have gone to smaller buildings like Manhattan Center or the ballroom, because it seems more intense, it seems more intimate, and it seems more exciting that way. But no, they have to be the biggest deal because they're Vince is a fucking size queen. He's always been a size queen. Biggest guys, the biggest muscles, the biggest buildings, big, and it's impossible to maintain that. So you're reaping what you sow. Yeah. You put out fucking shitty creative, and here's another point I had made on Wednesday, is that it's not the talent's fault. Everybody, all of our listeners have to realize that WWE has some of the greatest performers in the industry right now. The fact that they're being given the crap that they're given is not their fucking fault. They should be speaking up, and maybe they are, and it's just going to deaf ears. But there are some really amazing talents in WWE, and I don't want to shit on them. It's this fucking horrible, quote unquote, creative. It's funny they call it that, but it couldn't be further from creative. And we're just been spoon shoveled, this crap for a full generation now. And it seems like there's no escape.
With a new creative operations manager coming from IFC, and Christine Luchador. Yeah, and she's going to get everything straightened right out. A non-wrestling person who's dealt with low-level comedy sitcoms that really never got over, like Comedy Bang Bang and all these other shit things. I think she's going to really straighten stuff out over there.
I'll guarantee you the only reason why she got the job is because it had something from Hollywood on her fucking resume, because I've heard that for years that if you've never done anything in Hollywood, they won't hire you. And if you do hire you, you're a coffee maker. You're a fucking barista.
She met Stephanie at one of these women empowerment producers.
They bought themselves $40,000 awards and covers of magazines.
That's it. And guess what? She's a boss cunt. Well, we need that because we need an affirmative action hire who's untouchable.
What happened to the last lady who was there who got an Emmy for some other project, and she was walking around the locker room with her Emmy and got tons of heat for it? Where is she?
Yeah, she's doing good work.
She was supposed to be the woman's voice, right? So what's it going to change?
Yeah, that was the other women. Tonight on WWE NXT New Year's Eve special saw Xia Li and Boa return from a mysterious transformation. Li and Boa came out with a new entrance and new looks, while the mysterious woman accompanied them to the stage and watched her from her chair. The male Shifu master, Sifu, if you will, was nowhere to be seen. And the mysterious woman, I like Sifu too, was not revealed. Leah and Boa stopped on the ramp during their new entrance to allow Lee to put a quick performance with a new pair of size. Lee then hit the ring and faced Katrina Cortez for an easy win. Well, I hope so. If you got size, you should be able to beat her. And size, ninja size, not on big size.
Right.
Lee stopped at one point during the match and turned to the mystery woman, then bowed to her. Lee ended up putting Cortez away with a kick for the pin to win. Boa and Lee also returned to the mystery woman's chair after the match and bowed to her. So hey, I'm shocked that another affirmative action hire gets fucking a spot on TV as they try and push, just like you said, into China, signing 8 new Chinese talents who've never worked a lick ever. It just shows you through our own entertainment what the globalist strategy is, where we're going, where we're shifting to.
Yeah.
One of the guys they signed's name is New Wu. So that's my new favorite guy right there. But just more, hey, you worked your ass off and you're a good worker and you actually get this shit. That's good.
Yeah.
Bring in 9 from fucking Beijing.
I need 9 more. Like they're ordering burgers.
Dude. Make sure you fucking get it. There's no, make sure you get some duck sauce with those fucking.
And this is funny because 20 years ago, they're like, we already have an Asian on board. We don't need another Asian. Now say, well, we have 3 Japanese. We have 1 from China. And now we have a Korean guy over here. You're like, oh, okay. But this is like that whole saying of life imitates art because art sees around the corner, like I've been saying. You know, we're showing through our art, through wrestling, that this Chinese takeover, right, of NXT, So then you're going to slowly see that in life. This is the vision. You know, the artist sees the vision and creates it, and then life falls in behind. This is like the slow fucking lead to the slaughterhouse, if you will, or like just saying this is predictive programming being shown on TV right now.
I 100% agree with all that, dude. MLW drops a hint for the big angle. Apparently MLW's Promociones Dorado founder Selena De La Renta announced that she'll be in charge of next week's Fusion episode. I don't know what any of that is. So she said the man of 1,000 deaths she's going to resurrect him to her promotion. It's been noted that Muertes will make his debut in the company soon, but there's no word what the date will be. So, yeah, man. Mil Muertes. I know you are pretty into the Mexican lucha scene and indie scene that way. So this seems to be a pretty big deal for that micro.
That's the guy that played Macias in TNA and AAA.
Oh, okay.
Hell of a hand. In fact, I saw him in Mexico City at Triple Mania. I think I want to say it was Triple Mania 17. Probably, oh my God, about 10 years ago. He worked Dr. Wagner Jr. in the main event, and they fucking tore the fucking house down. Macias is a hell of a worker, and the stuff he did in Lucha Underground was nothing compared to what he can actually do. So hopefully in MLW you'll actually see him do a lot of some really good work. He's getting a little older now. He's in his early 40s. In fact, he was injured for a little while, and they ended up having to move the date for Triple Mania at one point just so they could have him on the show because he was that big of a draw. Now, he was like the top guy for maybe 5 years down there. So he's a hell of a hand. I hope he's healthy enough where when they put him in the action, he can see an angle through from beginning to end. But he and Cibernetico had a huge feud even before the Triple Mania stuff in 17. But this guy's a huge name in Mexico and in Puerto Rico. He's actually Puerto Rican, but he made his living in Lucha Libre in Mexico with AAA. Okay. So, maybe MLW is just trying to reach out to a more Latino-based community because, the fans of Lucha Libre will follow talents around like WWE hoped they would do when they signed, a couple of people from AAA, from CMLL.
Yeah.
So
33 strong here, as above, so below at youtube.com/Mr. OVW and Hamin Media Group. Who would you book over in that Dr. Wagner Jr. or Slick Wagner Brown?
Dr. Wagner Jr. for sure. I love Slick Wagner Brown, but Dr. Wagner Jr. is a draw that can make you millions of dollars. And he's 48 years old and he's still fucking killing it in Mexico. Even though he lost his hood. But it's all good, man. All good in the hood.
Let's see here. Sasha Banks reacts to Snoop Dogg's frog splash on AEW Dynamite last night. Still got to watch. She says, fam, we're going to have to work on this. She was clearly not impressed. After hitting an awkward frog splash, shocked. The fucking athlete that Snoop Dogg looks like.
He's 50 years old, by the way.
He's 50 and he fucking looks like he's made of toothpicks. Snoop pinned Mexico with Cody Rhodes doing the honors for him. Snoop and Rhodes are judges in the upcoming competition series, the Go Big Show, which premieres on January.
I was gonna say, fucking Cody Rhodes' fucking contract must have been coming up on the Go Big Show thing. He's like, fuck, I better put Snoop over. I get him on my corner so he can help fucking negotiate my contract. I gotta extend this shit.
I got to see how rotten this was.
Oh, it was so terrible, buddy. I saw it about a minute before you called me today.
He's always going up now. Bring him in closer, he says. Bring him in closer. Snoop, double jizzy, because that be me. No, I'm not European, being all I can when I put the motherfucking mic in my hand. And that was terrible, Snoop.
He looks so fucking fragile.
Stranded on death row. Oh, yeah, dude, that was fucking real bad. But guess what? They should have probably practiced it on the crash pad 4 or 5 times before you fucking did that one. But did they? No. But the reality,
imagine if he blew his fucking knee out.
Snoop should just come back and retweet like some of her best Botchamania spots.
I know, right?
Yeah. Snoop blowing his knee out. Well, I mean, he'd self-medicate, so there's no problem there. Lars Sullivan news. Reason why he's been possibly pulled off of TV.
He's terrible.
Yeah, and somebody found out that he got his cock sucked by another man on camera. Oh, no, sorry. After being drafted to Friday Night SmackDown in October, Lars Sullivan had 2 squash victories over Jeff Hardy and Chad Gable, followed by the 2 sit-down interviews with Corey Graves in the weeks that followed. However, since November 6th episode of SmackDown, Sullivan has disappeared from WWE programming and gone back in the closet. Although WWE has yet to explain the reason for Sullivan's absence, Meltzer in the Observer noted that since the top star on Friday nights, Roman Reigns, is a heel, WWE does not want another top heel that they don't want to beat on the same brand. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure that it wasn't that he talked shit about Stephanie and CM Punk and WWE on bodybuilding.com before you hired him and knew that. And then that he said he's fine except a sex tape where he's getting his cock sucked by a gay porn star comes out. And then it definitely wasn't the fact that you would rib him about that in those segments that looked like a therapy fucking segment, only to have him scream and then pull him off TV. Not like you did with Lana, putting it through a table for 9 weeks, having her win a match by doing nothing, acting like that was going to be a push, and now she's just off TV completely. Yeah. No, you don't have any track record of doing these type of things. It's definitely got to be that they didn't want another top heel, the top heel Lars Sullivan on the same show.
That super top heel who won 2 matches on TV, brother.
Yeah, he is great. So good luck.
Dude, Mantar had more TV matches.
You had more TV matches.
Oh, fuck yeah, I did. I hope after 4 years of being there that I had more than 2 shots.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Those promos he did with Corey Graves are some of the most uncomfortable TV I have ever seen in my whole life.
They're supposed to be his therapy sessions.
Yeah. And Stevie Richards has said this 1,000 times, and I agree with him 100% that fucking Bruce and Vince think about how to rib the talent on TV 10,000 times more than they ever try to make the show any good. If they spent half the amount of time trying to make the show good as they do spending the time, how are we going to rib this guy? The show would be fucking up for an Emmy.
It would, but the last thing they care about is they wait till Saturday to change the Monday show and fuck it. And then, and to be honest with you, I gave him a fucking bigger window or shorter window. I thought it was a 2-3 o'clock on a Monday call. So if he's changing shit on Saturday and you can't fix it then, like, I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to change stuff, but the fact that if you have 48 hours, I could rewrite your whole fucking month of TV in 48 hours.
If the TV is good enough, it writes itself.
Sure. Yes.
So you don't have to worry about that kind of shit. But what happened to we write this shit a year in advance? So if you had a year in advance and this is the fucking crap that you gave us, I mean, that's fucking terrible.
I agree completely, man, that they just are so misfocused. We know this, and that's why it's same as America. It's the same reason why wrestling's in the same fucking shit state, bro. Because of delusional motherfuckers who aren't overthrown and stood up against. Really.
Yeah, true. You just have to sit here patiently and wait for fucking Vince to pass away. Yeah. That's the end game. Just sit and wait.
Yep. Scott D'Amore talks Impact Wrestling's relationship with AEW and Don Callis rumors. It was strange D'Amore wasn't on Impact this week because he's been doing a great job. And that's not sarcasm. But
no, he did. Yeah. It's one of those weird guys. I've never met him. There's probably 3 people in the entire business I've never met. He's one of those guys because I've never been around TNA. So it's weird, but I appreciate the work that he does because I know he fucking knows how to lay deep in the fucking cut, and he knows when to pull triggers on things. He's brilliant. It's a guy who I would like to do some kind of business with somewhere down the road, but just strange. It's like 2 ships in the night. I guess we've never really been in the same place. You guys are kind of
similar too in the way you operate and the way your minds think. I think too. I mean, I met him and I meet him at the weirdest things. Al Snow's second marriage, the bachelor party when the lights went out. Louisville, we're at the strip club, strippers by candlelight. That was a crazy night at the more. And then I was working that Megan Brothers show for the fucking Orthodox Jews in the backyard up in Toronto, and turned around and D'Amore's standing there. And I was like, oh, hey man, what's going on? We're in line to get fucking kosher meats and shit. So it was a crazy thing, man. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Impact Wrestling EVP Scott D'Amore talked about the company's new relationship with AEW, rumors of Callis leaving Impact Impact, Hard to Kill, and more. There's a lot here. Holy shit. Let me try and cherry pick something. Whether Don and I are both at Impact Wrestling, or if we're in different parts of the world or in different industries, there'll always be a connection and a friendship. Fans should continue to speculate and enjoy, but don't let it get in the way of enjoying the ride of some really cool and exciting times. This isn't just a chance to see Kenny Omega. It's a chance to see Kenny Omega reunite with Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. That's a Bullet Club reunion. You're putting them with Rich Swann, who is showing that he can be a great champion. Obviously, 2CW talent we've had many times. And one of the most iconic teams in wrestling, the Impact Wrestling, the Motor City Machine Guns. They're a team that is constantly getting overlooked for their contributions in revolutionizing tag team wrestling. And they're as homegrown for Impact as anyone. This is a match for wrestling fans. You get to watch these 6 men go at it the ring. All right. Motor City Machine Guns, yeah, they do unbelievable shit and good tandem stuff. They definitely are Young Bucks before the Young Bucks were there and just hit it at the right time / wrong time. But I can watch Motor City Machine Gun matches now and give you a laundry list of why they are not good and why they bury the biz and bury psychology to get their own shit in and no sell. And the fact that both of them are 5'8" and they work like 50-50. So we can start there, but these guys have legacy and they've put time in. That's just my aspect on how wrestling should be done. So when I hear, even if it's D'Amore saying what he needs to do to Sports Illustrated to sell for his guys,
right?
When I read that, I go, it makes me crazy.
Yeah, he's not going to shit on his talent on Sports Illustrated, but they are good. It's just the fact that if they added selling to what they did, they'd be great.
You got it.
They're exciting to watch in a live performance. If you're there live at an indie show, it's like, wow, these guys don't stop. They're human pinballs. But if you take into context what wrestling is supposed to be, wrestling is about the art of the sell. And if there's nothing to sell, there's no sympathy and there's nothing to gain from the crowd. It's just pops on moves.
And that really is why they were never over to the level that he's saying they should be recognized.
And I think TNA is a little complicit in this, in the fact that they would give these fucking tag matches 3 minutes of TV time, but there'd be 4 tag teams involved in one match. I used to text Frankie Kazarian and be like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, you guys don't sell shit. You do all 900 things in 4 minutes. He's like, this is the time they give us, and they fucking squish 9 people into it. That's an overbooked match. So they have to get all their, I got to get my shit in, brother. I'm not on TV for another week. I got to hit my this. I got to hit my that because I got to sell my gimmicks. It's like the survival rate of wrestling. Like, I got to make X dollars. To do that, I have to be over. To be over, I have to get my fucking shit in so I don't look like I'm getting squashed. To not look like I'm getting squashed means I got to do 6 moves when this guy does 12, So it's like this fucking momentum that eats itself alive that's not maintainable. And we've seen that throughout the course of wrestling, where now the main event matches and the heavyweight matches are all doing the same thing because it all started from, well, we only have an hour of TV time. We have fucking 80 guys under contract in the back that we got to get on a show. Well, first of all, don't contract 80 fucking guys. If 1, you can't afford them. 2, you have no place for them to be. And don't squish them all in 4-minute matches. What fucking sense does that make? But
how'd you like to pay not that Vince doesn't have it. How'd you like to pay the travel just for the legends?
Fuck that, dude. I know. I always think of everything in relation to 2CW is like, oh my god, all these plane trips. Who's picking these people up? I hope Hogan doesn't mind, being squished in a hotel with 3 other dudes. Like, here you go, guys. You all have your own key, but they don't realize it's all for the same fucking door. Welcome to professional wrestling.
Yeah, welcome to professional wrestling. Monday Locker Room, we laid it out how to lose $100,000 and
start with 200,000. Right?
Yeah, start with 2. But yeah, I know you want to keep some of those secrets close to the chest, but I hope you do your own rant on the Wednesday Locker Room again this week with it. But that goes right in it, because that's been your part of your job at 2CW, getting all the trans, making sure Kevin Graham's going to get these guys and fucking get them to the hotel and whatnot. I just looked at that big fucking semicircle of talent there and went, wow, what a logistic fuckhole that was, only to not have them pay off their business in the fucking end segment.
The whole thing was for nothing.
It was for shit.
And
Imagine you're not the guy at all on TV or whatever, and you had to book all that, and you're thinking this is going to pay off, and then it doesn't. You're just like,
fuck my life. This is what I went to school for. Then you think, each person that sat in one of those chairs thinks they're the biggest fucking thing that ever happened in the business and expect to be treated as if. And it's like, it's mind-boggling because it made me think of the first 2 CW pay-per-view when we had Tajiri in, and we had all these talents in, and they're getting shuffled in this big bus that Kevin Graham is driving. It's that big 15-passenger bus that we rented, and like, I'm not going to say who, but somebody who wasn't on the card, a wife of a talent who thought she was queen fucking shit, was trying to be like, we need to stop here, we need to stop here, we need to go here. And Tajiri is saying to my buddy Rayon, an Australian kid who lived in Japan, who was coming over to be the translator for Tajiri, but we gave him a spot on the card as well, who was a decent hand. Tajiri was saying to this kid in Japanese, what a fucking cunt. Like they're going off in Japanese, like what a, and then whoever's speaking Spanish, they're speaking Spanish to each other. What a fucking cunt. Because everybody thinks they're the biggest thing and they're the biggest, it's like, oh, give me a fucking break. So, but now under the WWE bubble, it's under a microscope 100-fold. So they all think that they're the greatest thing that's ever fucking happened to the industry, and they all want to be treated like it's the reason that people are tuning in to watch them sit on the stage to watch a fake fucking match. It's just the insanity of it all is fucking hilarious. And I'm so glad I wasn't involved in any of that.
Well, right, we're in what you're talking about here, and I'm not talking about being a huge cunt or whatever, but maybe sometimes. Maria Canales admits she had to change the perception of herself following original WWE run. Maria Canales reflected on how she changed the media perception because of her character that she played during her first spell of the company. Maria revealed that people just presumed she was an idiot and people wanting her to play that up on television. However, she credited her appearance on Celebrity Apprentice as helping to change that during an interview with ROH Strong podcast. Quote, the WWE had me doing a few of those things in the past where people were surprised of like, oh, I didn't think you would be able to. Or when I was on Celebrity Apprentice, everybody thought that I was an idiot. And I was like, no. And the producers wanted me to play an idiot on the reality show, which I was like, that's not happening. It's silly. But then once I started transitioning out of WWE and decided this is new to me, this was the new me and was going to be a character or whatever, it took a little while because I do these interviews after WWE released me and people thought I was an idiot. And so I'd have to like fix this whole issue at the beginning because I'm like, no, nobody's going to hire an idiot. So, all right, we got to fix this problem. And I would gradually make a difference in this image everybody had of me before. She just keeps going on about image and idiot. She could say that 4 or 5 times, as well as me having a major image problem leaving the WWE. I'll say my husband had to experience that all over again, as well of him having a major image problem of WWE. Well,
yeah,
self-inflicted.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. As far as her being looked at as an idiot, I remember like how they got her into that role was that she botched a couple of backstage promos when she was supposed to be interviewing. I don't know if it was Michaels or Cena. It was somebody in the upper echelon she was interviewing, and she fucked up the interview like once, and then something else happened later, like maybe a week or two later. That's when they started booking her as an idiot, because I think somebody in the back was like, well, if she's going to act like one.
Yeah. Oh, she's an idiot.
Roll with this. That's why when she does botch up the interview, now it's her gimmick.
Sure.
So I think that's what happened with getting her into that role of being a moron on TV, is that she wasn't prepared to do the things that they had her doing. So, I understand the fact that like once she figured out, how it is, it takes that time to get comfortable on camera where you can hit all your points and be sharp. They should have had her ready for that before she put her on TV. So shame on the company for putting her in that position to begin with. But then they had to roll with that. Yeah, you do have that perception when you come out of the company that, yeah, you're the happy idiot. But I never watched the show, but I did hear she was actually a really good player on that Celebrity Apprentice. And I do think that did help her, reconstitute this new image for herself, which is kind of cool. But like then they have WWE kind of come and double down and have her be like, well, no, I'm not just like a cutthroat business person. I'm also a fucking rip-roaring cunt and make my husband hate his life. So, they go from one extreme to another with WWE.
Right. Yeah. And, I talent handled them when they came and they worked that show in Syracuse and they had the little dogs. She was great, man.
Yeah, they're easy to deal with.
There was no diva stuff at all, but then everything.
I'll give her credit. Just a sidebar, not to interrupt you, but I had to go through her because I went through Mike because I knew Mike since he was 15 years old and he was breaking in with New England Championship Wrestling. In fact, I was the ring announcer for his very first match he ever had. Super nice guy, but yeah, kind of like flaky to a point where you try to get in some business done and he just isn't looking at his phone.
Yeah.
And I would go to his wife and I went through her and it was like, as soon as I sent it, the bubbles were there. She was already texting me back. So it was immediate. She was very on top of her business, very sharp, knew the industry, knew what to do, was good with money, and was very responsive. So doing business with her was actually a pleasure because it wasn't like I had to babysit.
I always heard good things. I mean, I'd done shows with her at OVW before when she come in, but she was on TV shining at that point. But Paul Heyman is the one who saw the potential and what she could become. And she got over with OVW fans. That's what got her on the road. But I think both of them, like all of us, not just them, with his addiction or whatever it is on B12 after his, and they got these kids and they're still worrying about that shit. You know what I mean? It just shows like a lack of character to some degree. And even her, as sexy as she is, having 2 kids now, 3 maybe?
Yeah,
even?
something like that.
Then like, hey, right afterwards, I'm in a thong with my body, trying to get my body back in shape, even though I'm a mom. Like, what makes people in our industry have to like these confines of what it is, or I have to get this Botox because all these other cunts got it, and it's not. Let me just own who I am. I was a hot broad. Now I'm a mom of 3, and my husband,
you know what it is
never going to get his shine properly, and that's driving him nuts. So watch him do steroids to the point where it enlarges his heart. Now makes a fucking chance that he might die tragically if he does get back on pills.
Yeah, but dude, think of how many likes she'll get. Think about how many likes she'll get when he dies.
There you go.
This is what I'm getting to.
Collar and Elbow will put out an awesome fucking memorial shirt.
Yeah, it'll be great. And then she'll make like 20 grand. It'll be fantastic. And it'll be gone forever, but 20 grand, right?
Yeah, we did it.
By the way, 20 grand is fucking nothing, by the way. Social media is a legal opiate. And people will do whatever they can to get likes because it's a dopamine release. So they're doing all this shit because they can't stand not being in the spotlight and not being the center of attention because they're not getting the likes. When you turn your phone on, look at how many hearts I got. People love me. Boom, 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 boom. The fucking dopamine is released and you have that satisfaction. It's like having that cigarette or that fucking pill that will send you off into space for 20 minutes. That's all social media is, and it causes people to do fucking stupid shit so they can get what they need. It's like the fucking monkey that's willing to fucking stab itself in the leg to get the pellet of food to come out of the machine. That's all it is. There's this machine in Arizona. It's in one of these fucking cowboy towns where they have a chicken that sits in a box, and when you put a quarter into the machine, a pellet comes into a light turns on. When the chicken sees the light, it does this fucking dance to this little song that plays, and after the dance, a pellet is released and the chicken gets to eat the pellet. This is social media. You're dancing for the fucking pellet. The pellet is the like. You know what I'm saying? So they get the payoff through the like. It's not food, but it is a sort of sustenance through their brain.
Come right back to it. Every fucking
you need that dopamine hit. So when the light goes off, they do their fucking dance and they get their fucking pellet. That's literally all it is.
You want to go back to the original conversation? Look at the German experiments for Nazism and mind control that got put into TV programming in America in the 50s and 60s. It wasn't just NASA and rockets. A lot more came over with them. And that is what you're talking about, are those dopamine hits of training these fucking rodents to go and do what they want them to do. Right. And now they've applied that to all
the cheese in the maze. Yeah. Find the cheese. That's your reward. It's Pavlovian. It's the clicking of the gimmick to make you drool because you associate that with food or satisfaction of some kind. So you hear the click, you drool because you feel like you already know what the payoff is going to be.
Mick Foley, looking for that payoff, calls on WWE to remove Donald Trump from Hall of Fame as protesters storm the U.S. Capitol. Also, Foley, because
that's what it's in his fucking peripheral, right? The Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame, keep it pure. Keep the wrestling fake Hall of Fame pure, brother.
Yeah, dude, somebody needs to go down and burn down the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that unbuilt structure.
So
it's in your heart. The Hall of Fame is in your heart.
Let's talk the worker side. Whatever. Foley has been in hotel, he said, for 18 days. Did he miss Christmas with his family as he was under COVID lockdown? So he's just sitting in a hotel driving himself nuts watching TV all day long. Foley wants Donald Trump removed from Hall of Fame. Trump supporters rallied outside the Capitol building, if you didn't know that. Hey, Vince, how about throwing this sorry son of a bitch out of our Hall of Fame? Foley tweeted, tagging Chairman Vince McMahon. President Trump released a video after police were able to remove protesters protesters in the Capitol building, urging supporters to go home in peace. In the same video, he called those same protesters very special and said he loved them, while doubling down on his claims that 2020 presidential election was fraudulent. Foley was not the only wrestling legend to voice their frustration on social media. Lance Storm on Twitter to shut down Trump's account, calling the company close to being accessory to domestic terrorism. Hey, at Twitter, at what point do you shut him down and stop letting him inciting a coup? You're close to being accessory to a domestic terrorism at this point. A coup is exactly what we need right now, and hopefully are having. But you know, Canadians, they should know more. And McFoley what does he expect?
Canadians still have a queen on their money, so the tyranny of the United States of America. Oh, wait a minute. 30% of my fucking tax dollars go to fucking fund the Queen of England.
Too big of a pussy to stand up and say "fuck you," you old.
Okay, listen. If you're a listener and there's fucking royalty, quote unquote royalty on your money, please don't fucking tell me how to live a free life. That goes for people in fake Australia, Canada, England, and anywhere else that has a queen on their fucking money. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll ask you on that one 100%. And Foley. Man, I think I remember something about his son getting a job with Obama's. And I can't fucking place it. I just don't know.
No, I can't follow that money trail anywhere. It leads to a dead end.
Jesus, dude, you ain't fooling nobody. No. Nobody. Go make some fucking pancakes. More news on Carlito.
Sing a fucking Christmas song.
More news on Carlito not appearing during the WWE Raw Legends Night.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Despite being advertised for Raw Legends Night, Carlito never ended up appering because apparently
that's not cool.
Yeah, a lot of not cool people were there. Initially, it had been rumored that there were there were travel issues on the day which stopped Carlito making his return to WWE. However, Wrestle Stink says that's not the case. Probably because they ran out of travel budget. Carlito was never actually booked to be a part of the show, despite being advertised by WWE. The company reportedly put out feelers to him, and someone ended up jumping the gun by announcing him as a confirmed name for the show.
So nobody saw the fucking clip of the video the week before?
Nobody.
Before it went on. No, just air it. Just fucking throw it out there. Fuck it.
Dude, there's your grounds for firing. You're gone. Thank you. You're gone. Thank you for playing. You're nobody here is professional, and there's nobody checking.
This is like the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. Yep. There's just it's an insanity clause going on right now. Like,
listen to this.
Like, stop everything. Everybody stop with it. You ever work at a place? I worked at a restaurant once that was so busy, and we had the GM got fired during a shift. The area director came in from fucking New York and was like, everybody fucking stop what you're doing. We were in the middle of a lunch rush that was like balls to the wall, tickets hanging out of the printer down to the ground, tickets all over everybody's board, meat everywhere being cooked up. No bread, no water, just meat.
No bread, no water, just meat.
That's all they want.
That's all he needs.
I mean, come on.
So everything had been like this. The top had been spinning for so long, and it finally was tipping over. And this was the breaking point where the area director had to get this guy out of here. And during the middle of the rush, he's like, "Everybody, stop what you're fucking doing and pay attention."
Yeah. And
then some guy was flipping shit. He's like, "Let it fucking burn. Leave it on the grill. You pay attention to me."
Yeah.
Everybody, stop. So and so, he's out. And until we get the new guy, I'm the one in fucking charge. It was a restaurant
complete coup. Complete
and
coup.
Everybody was like, "Yes, sir." Everybody got in line. We got through the fucking rush and waited for the smoke to settle.
Triple H does that at Raw. And
that's what I was going to say. It has to happen at some point where Triple H has to say to Stephanie. Stephanie has to be the one that does it, not Triple H. It has to be a bloodline. It has to be direct bloodline.
To me, I think that's the mistake. Making her the
only way he'll listen to it.
He needs to tell her, shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down.
There has to be that moment where they have to go, "Listen, Pops," because he calls them Pops. "We all love you, but this can't happen anymore. You're ruining the legacy of your grandfather, your father, the 45 years you've put into this, our generation, and your grandkids. We need this. This is our legacy too. And yes, you've given it everything you've had. Nobody disrespects that. We love what you've done. You've given your life to this business, but it's time. It is time. We need to take this from you. You need to let us. Give us your blessing and sit down and relax. You can still come to the shows, but from here on out, Stephanie, me, Shane, we're going to figure this out and we're going to get it on track. Even if that's not the case.
I've got one thing to say to you, Game, on that. I've got one thing to say to you, Paul. That's what you're getting. I'm not going anywhere, pal.
I'm not going then ice pick. You gotta Morty him. You gotta get him in the car and fucking Morty the motherfucker. Because that's what it's gonna take. Give him the chance to walk away, or fucking he's Morty.
Because Stephanie doing it is only going to keep the conduit. They know that she's just going to be a puppet. It has to be Triple H being the man in the relationship, also showing dominance over her and fucking take it. That's the only.
I don't even know if she would lay down for that. I don't even know if she would lay down for that.
You got to go too.
It's Shane's.
Yeah.
By law.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got to ask them, the Sifu of Gia Lee, if we can do any of this. It was added in a report that there's no bad blood in the mix-up. It was just a mistake on the announcement. Carlito wasn't the only name who was advertised and didn't end up appearing, though. Kurt Angle, Beth Phoenix, and Candice Michelle had been claimed to be a part of the show, but never ended up making an appearance.
Yeah, because we need the GoDaddy girl from 25 years ago. We need her.
Well, we're looking for a new wife for Game. Finn Balor claims he welcomes WWE legends with open arms. Gives a fuck. WWE NXT champion Finn Balor recently gave his thoughts about WWE legends making their return to the company. He should be more worried about making his return to the company because he's a completely useless property now.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about just zero value whatsoever?
He should have never went to WWE.
What a fool.
He could have, to this day, could have still been the top guy in Japan. And then he could have parlayed that into being the top guy in AEW, and it wouldn't have been Kenny Omega. It would have been fucking Finn Balor.
He says, it doesn't bother me at all. I believe that everyone has a place in this business, and if you're on the show, you're on the show for a reason. Okay. If you're on the show once a year, if you're on the show every night, that down to everybody's individual circumstance. Those guys have carved out their legacy and proven over the years that they belong on the show, whether it's for one night or if it's for every night. That doesn't affect me because I'm down on NXT and no one knows where the fuck I am. I mean, it shouldn't affect anyone else. For me, when the tide comes in, all the ships rise. Hey, I like that. Somebody else says that around.
Yeah.
And if we can have Goldberg on the show, if we can have anyone on the show for one night, I feel it's better for one night than ever. I welcome these legends with open arms. Wow, what a wrong perspective that is.
Yeah. He's just fucking jerking everybody off. That's all that is.
Yeah, dude. I hope,
because he wants them to come back and be like, that Finn Balor's one hell of a dude. He's a good athlete and what a hell of a champion.
I want to work with him. Yeah,
I can't wait till he breaks his jaw or pulls an abdomen on the next match that he does.
Oh, him and Boogeyman can tag.
Is he talking about himself as a guy that only comes in 2 nights a year?
Right. 2 nights a year to work a fucking phony match where everybody gets hurt and can't work.
If anybody wants to get as lean as Finn Balor, have somebody break your jaw in 3 places and they wire your jaw shut. Then you can go on the liquid diet for about 12 weeks.
Liquid B12 diet. The Good Briz make an appearance at AEW Dynamite, appearance to reunite with the Elite, the Elite. In case you missed it, I just haven't gotten there yet. Omega retained his AEW World Championship against Ray Phoenix last night. Oh, there's Stooge. And the Good Brothers arrive and blindside John Moxley. So, Gallows and Anderson politic their way in. Omega and the Bucks, a 2CW family affair.
Truly. I didn't care about Gallows and Anderson when they were in Japan. I didn't care about them when they were in WWE. I certainly don't give a fuck that they're in Impact. And you know that they'll parlay it into a role in AEW because that's where more money is. And then their boys will stick up for them. You got to get these guys in. They're going to do what they didn't do in WWE. Then they'll get over there and do nothing. Just like they've done for the last 6 years of their career.
They'll have that dream match against FTR that they had on SmackDown.
Yeah, so we'll all be privy to a 45-minute match on TV for free.
Nothing means nothing.
Yeah, so it's just silliness at this point. I was really disappointed. I had never seen Carl Anderson before, and I was really hoping when he got to WWE that I'd see something really like this mechanic at work in the ring, and I just never got that. So that was kind of disappointing.
Let's put the shoot on with Bullet Club. Bullet Club wouldn't have been shit without 2CW, Japan, and PWG. Those are the three places that made Bullet Club and made them indies. Bullet Club is fucking maybe Prince Devitt or whatever the fuck you want to call them, the Young Bucks, and Omega. Anybody outside AJ, well, AJ too. Anybody, maybe not even AJ. Anybody outside of those four is a sycophant and a hanger-on to be claiming of Bullet Club. Whether it's Good Brothers, whether it's Skrull,
it's
whether
NWO
it's
Black and White,
Cody, all that shit. So those guys just jumped on something, and Bucks knew it was going to make them more money, and it absolutely did. But I'm not trying to be like, oh, there's an original Bullet Club and that matters, because I don't give a fuck, because it's all phony. But we're the fucking elite and we're the best, and the good Briz Cliz and all this
with
little
Wolfpack, brother, put them up,
2015 talk that fucking was going on when Matt Hardy showed up with what's his name, the ref, fucking Keenan, and Keenan's doing good brother does bad brother, and big brother hit the rock.
My own mouth with that
dude,
shit?
I was fucking I just rolled my eyes and walked away. And now they're trying.
If ever I was gonna sucker punch somebody, it was gonna be that motherfucking kid. I wouldn't have to, because Trey's would have fucking eviscerated the guy. Remember that? They almost
bro.
battle at Gorilla.
Oh yeah. So six years later, they're still trying to hold on to this fucking too sweet, with Callis putting it over like it's these fucking ribs.
He's a hanger on her too.
Oh, just total lechery.
Yeah. Anybody that hangs on to something like that because you think you're gonna get a payday, fuck you. Just fuck you. Yeah. Come up with your own fucking.
Because you're not good. You've proven for 6 years that you're not the Bucks or Omega, and you can't deliver in the ring, but you can do all the fucking little bullshit ribs, and and people think that's over. Then the bell rings, and they go, "Well, Carl Anderson is as good as the Miz, really." And what the fuck?
No, because the Miz has a good personality.
Yeah, Miz can get over with characters. Yeah. So, but I mean, wrestling wise, that's about the acumen of where he's at.
Yeah. Crazy to think. It's all about perception, I guess.
But it's not, because maybe to the AEW fans, but then the bell rings and the perception goes, and that's why they've never been over. That's why they didn't get over in WWE.
But Gallows can say you're a nerd. That's the pop, brother. Nerd.
Stuff.
Nerd.
He can stooge me to the office for getting Robert Gibbs.
You're not the only one he stooged. He stooged a buddy of mine in OVW and got him his contract cut. So fuck Gallows.
Because he's only 6'7" and mass. I mean, he should really be worried about his spot, like somebody's coming in and
he just wants to jerk off the office and be a fucking stooge. He's the guy that he makes fun of on TV. He's the fucking stooge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. A special date has been set for WWE NXT Takeover event. January 6th, 2021 was the next Takeover event, apparently. That was yesterday. But February 14th, Valentine's Day. So we'll see if the Heartbreak Kid has anything to do. It says love is in the air, and so is pain at NXT Takeover Valentine's Day. Fight Pit officially pulled from tonight's WWE NXT due to injury. It was supposed to be Tim Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa in a worked shoot fight tonight, but because of injury, Thatcher suffered a minor injury while training for tonight's match. Has been pulled as a precautionary measure. It's super smart for Tommaso with a repaired neck injury to be doing work shoots inside of a fucking cage. Good ideas. Sean Triple H really taking care of your talent down there. Game, Heartbreak, good job, buddy.
Yeah, when my wife and I watched the show, and I was saying I'm actually glad that match was taken off, because it would have been 25 minutes long, and nothing would have been accomplished out of it. Ciampa and Gargano have to get out of NXT. They've been around there way too long, and nobody cares about them anymore. They never moved past it, and it's just more neck bumps. And who needs more neck bumps, honestly? And speaking of neck bumps, Shotzi Blackheart almost brained herself again on one of the moves. This is a girl who's going to end up with serious injury, and I like the girl. I think she has a lot of potential, but every match she's in, she damn near paralyzes herself. And I want to say that I really like watching NXT, because to me it's kind of like college basketball, where it's the hungriest guys trying to get further in the career.
I get that. NCAA or NBA,
but they're doing the wrong shit at the wrong time, and they're doubling down on these unnecessarily these moves that could put them in wheelchairs.
They're trying to play and one ball in the fucking NCAAs, and they just need to play strict 2-3 zone and fucking get their fundamentals wired right.
Yeah, all they need to do is learn how to sell to a point where they can get the sympathy on them. That's all they need to do. And like there are some great talents down
She gets
there.
over in her entrance. She gets over in her entrance. You don't need to do a fucking
thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous. She's a walking gimmick. She comes out with a tank and a helmet. She shoots a missile out of the thing. She's got green hair and she's like a vampire. Like, what else do you what do you want her to fucking shit vanilla ice cream? Is like, what else could she possibly do to get over?
Classic. I mean, it's the classic. We've seen this character 100 times. Classic green-haired character, vampire tank driver. I mean, this is the archetypes.
I call that Tuesday, brother. Yeah. Just run-of-the-mill tank driving green-haired vampire.
Got to do a 450 splash with a fucking garbage can on my head. Why the fuck not?
It's ridiculous. But anyway, like I said, she has like tons of potential. She has a good character, good personality, and people want to like her. There's no need to paralyze yourself every time you go out to the fucking ring.
FTR renaming the Goodnight Express to the Big Rig in tribute to Brodie Lee. Classy move. AEW's FTR has revealed they're officially naming the name of their finishing move from the Goodnight Express to honor Brodie Lee. So I know Dex had put out that him and his wife had lost a child to miscarriage, and that Amanda and John were there for them big. So I know that he's got a very, very deep respect and profound love for Brodie. So that's pretty cool, man. Regardless.
Sure. I remember when they went through the loss of that miscarriage and what it did to Brodie. Just, the love that guy had in his heart for his children, and for that to happen really set him off for a long time, to be really depressed about that, and Amanda as well, So it was nice to see them have that tribute to Brodie. He'll continue on through people's stories, and he was not one that was short on love with the boys in the locker room. So you got to see that all play out through the tributes and things like that. So it's nice that they're going to kind of keep his spirit alive with something like that.
Do you want to, I mean, that's a good story. Do we want to do the flip side of that too and talk about what I had sent you the other day, which I'm not sure? Do you think we should fave that for the locker room?
Maybe wait another week.
Yeah, I think wait another week too is a better call. But there is some, and I hate this because I know it's hurting Josh. It's hurting you, me, other guys who are even closer to Brodie. But whatever it was with Disco and whatnot and Mitchell, and there's even another follow-up. So unfortunately, this isn't going to just go away until there's some clarification. And in that we've got a loose, not stooge, I would say, but possibility. Right. And time will play it out, I think. And it's not up to HMG to be like, guess what I heard, especially as close as we are.
The wounds are still so fresh, and they're going to be fresh for a long time. They pick at them, and
it's not going to change.
Everything will fall into place when it's ready.
Yeah. It's not going to change it for me to stooge right. It might not even happen next week. When it'll happen, and I talked to Russo about this, is when AEW burns a guy and fucking kicks him to the side, and that guy knows the secrets, and then it fucking comes out, and it's not going to be pretty when it does, if it's true. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's, I don't even want to get further into it, but like maybe that's why that Khan felt the need to really put everything over the top for the tribute show.
Yeah. Stevie and I were a bit befuddled, and I needed to send it to you. You know what I mean? And I sent it to two other people, and all three of you, the response was one word: fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's totally believable, but it might not be the case.
It's a chain of events.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully not have to be the ones to stooge it. I want to let it sit and see where things go with that. Our final story of the day, we made it, Strangler, with Stevie Richards in the chat room as well, riding shotgun here, 41 strong on the Friday locker room. You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Cardi B has a heated exchange with Lacey Evans. Rapper Cardi B got into a Twitter argument with WWE superstar Lacey Evans, you big nasty.
Did she clap?
As noted at this link, the multi-platinum rapper fired off several platinum rapper / date raper / thief fired off several
go girl.
Related tweets after WWE Hall of Famer Tori Wilson name dropped her during a segment on last night's Legends edition of Raw. One of the tweets, Cardi had responded to the video of one actual segment of Tori and Garza joking with WWE chairman Vince McMahon. Better count his days because that was not how her WWE debut was supposed to go. She puts, what the fuck, wearing face emoji, laughing ×4 emoji. This is not how my WWE debut was supposed to be. Vince McMahon, count your fucking days. She wrote, well, we're all hoping to count Vince's days. Evans responded to that tweet this afternoon, name-dropping rapper Nicki Minaj. Careful what you wish for, you nasty. We aren't at Nicki Minaj. You'll get sent home with more than a busted eye. Nail polish emoji, high heel emoji. I know, it's serious now. Evans wrote a reference to an incident between Cardi and Minaj that happened a while back. Cardi responded to Evans' tweet saying, a white woman could never put fear in her. So here comes Cardi B with the hurt business. A white woman can never put fear in me, sweetie. You got me fucked up. I was showing love to WWE whole night yesterday. I don't know where the fuck you came from with your unnecessary bullshit, Cardi wrote, apparently not realizing Evans was working a social media angle. Cardi has deleted the tweet, but she did add in a follow-up tweet. Wow, don't ever want to hear a motherfuckers talk shit to me again.
It's getting real.
Yeah, Evans responded to the tweet and had some strong words for the Bodak Yellow rapper. Bless your heart, I'm Cardi B. You got it all wrong. I heard debut and was giving you a friendly heads up. Pleading face emoji. But since you want to be badass, keep me in mind when/if you show up to WWE. I'll kick your ass while listening to your music. Nail polish emoji, high heel emoji. Hashtag pull up, Evans wrote in response to the deleted tweet. That was the last exchange, and it looks like things have calmed down between Lexi and Cardi. You can see and read the tweets below. Nail polish emoji.
All right. If I don't care if you're a guy or a girl or what you claim to be, if you speak in emojis, go fuck yourself. If you're an 8-year-old girl, fine. If you're fucking 42 and you're doing this shit, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Your life ain't that bad.
Cardi B, I'll come over and fuck yourself once or twice, and then I'll train you how to wrestle. In fact, Cardi should be getting with Serena on the side or a Beth Phoenix or a Mickie James and putting in that work. She shouldn't be going to NXT to train with all of them because you see the terribleness. All you got to do is or Rip Rogers. Give her the 2-week Rip Rogers fucking Pat McAfee fucking crash course, and Cardi B will show up and fucking outshine everybody in WWE just based on working simple alone. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't even have to. And you could get her in a fucking management position or something in the middle as a guest ref between Carmella and Sasha, who are complete knockoffs of it. I do love that the racism came out, that she fell for the work. She's not scared of a white girl. What the fuck does that have to do with anything of being the white girl, dude? Just perfect idiocy from a whore-ass stripper who got made into a celebrity, who has the fucking couth and abilities of a fucking handicapped 6th grader.
There's nothing I can add to that other than
that's
like,
who we put up on the mountain.
You got, implants in your ass cheeks. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're trash. And then WWE's she's selling for it back and forth. Oh, dude, just so perfect. It's just the bottom of the barrel. And they found each other. The worst will always find each other, apparently.
The best thing that she ever did was something she didn't even create. It was that fucking remix coronavirus song that somebody put together from like last March. Where she's like, coronavirus. It's like, that's what I know you for. You're the fucking coronavirus girl.
Yeah. And now I'm going to get some wet ass pussy, pal. Yeah, it's a wet ass pal. Yeah, it's coming. But Strangler, we made it through all of the headlines from
Hallelujah.
prowrestling.com. I'm eternally grateful to have you on staff and as my friend, man.
Thank you. Likewise.
Killing it on that Wednesday locker room. A brilliant mind and somebody I go to when I got to lay out my mental stress, because I know you have the vision and clarity to help keep me grounded. So these are the Steves I know, whether it's Steve King or Stevie Richards, keeping me grounded. That's the big brother factor that Hamin needs once in a while, man. And I'm glad that I have it, because it would be a lot tougher to manage without both of them. So a huge day yesterday with the other Steve I know, Stevie Ray TV, big launch, MSG and RBV, all hands on deck, getting signups going. I want to thank anyone who signed up for the Patreon at Stevie Ray TV, but we also have the YouTube channels, the Twitch, and his new Twitter. So please go subscribe to those and share those. That's only going to help us as we try and develop more brands. I'm meeting with Big Vito tonight with Big Ray to start getting things going real big over there, and working with Noel, who's a great graphics artist as well and producer. So it's nonstop, man. Yesterday was one of the busiest days, top 3 days in Hamin Media Group history, and then sprinkle a little Civil War on top of that. It was quite a fucking Wednesday, man.
It's crazy, man. It never stops. When you're the entrepreneur, man, you don't get days off.
No.
I used to say to people when I had my restaurant, people were like, "What's it like?" I said, "Cancel fucking Christmas, because you're not going anywhere." You know, when you own a business, it's really the business owns you, and you have to treat it like a newborn baby. You have to be there every minute of every day. And when your name is on the door, it's your reputation on the line. So everything becomes a lot more important to you. And even the minutia, you can't let anything slide through the cracks. And that's what you're going through right now, the growing pains of building a business and your own personal media empire. I mean, these are the days that you got to put the hours in, because, you know, you can't stop, won't stop. And if you want it to grow and you want it to survive, you're there 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and you can't take failure as an excuse. You got to push forward every fucking day. So, you know, it feels like it kind of eats a piece of your soul, which it does. But at the end of the day, you can rest back knowing that you're doing everything possible to succeed in this genre that you've chosen. And it shows. It's a shining light, and people are coming to it on a daily basis. We're getting new listeners, new subscribers every single day. Yep. Every week I look at my downloads for Wednesday Locker Room. There's a little bit more, and that's because of all the strong episodes on here, not just the Wednesday Locker Room, but all the locker rooms, all the conspiracy shows, everything that Hamin Media provides on a free content level, and that's coming back, in droves. So all the work does return, and eventually, you know, it might feel like a slow bleed at times, but when you realize where you were 6 months ago or 1 year ago, you can see that arrow pointing up. And that's the continuation of the hard work and the success that you've created for yourself, because you weren't going to sit by idly and wait for WWE to pick you up. You're like, fuck that, I'm going to make my own success. And you're doing that on a day-to-day basis. So I applaud you, and I applaud your efforts, and everybody who's putting in the work at HMG. It's showing. Even if you don't feel it, trust me, it's there. And if you don't feel it today, you might get it tomorrow. And it's a slow and steady incline. And sometimes you do take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but that's still 1 step forward. So it might feel a little slower than you want it to be at times, but slow and steady wins the race, and you just got to keep the car on the track and keep pushing forward every day. And that's what we do here, man. And we're going to provide everybody with content, with whether it's wrestling, comedy, or fucking conspiracy, or whatever it may be. You're going to have it. You're going to wake up every day and you have new shows to download. I do it every day myself. I get up at fucking 3:30 every morning. I'm making coffee and I'm listening to everybody on the platform. And everybody's improved so much over the last 2 years. It's insane. So just imagine 2 years from now how big this thing's going to be, and everybody just has to keep everything steady.
Trump's network, when we're running Trump's network, and we're the pundits of truth. They've pushed it to that point, man. I appreciate all that, Steve. That's exactly how we're trying to make things happen. And now after 3 years of labor of love, when there's a little bit of a profit to be turned, and you're working with a bigger name wrestler, well, here comes 8 more with their head around the corner. Hey, what are they doing? They didn't want to be the first ones, but now they smell some profits. And
nobody wants to be the guinea pig, but once they see the payoff, now everybody wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. You can follow him, and you will follow him at Old Bitter Steve, and get involved with those Wednesday locker rooms interactions. Great fun polls and memes and interaction with all the Hamin Media Group members. Steve does a great job with that. OB1, you know me, and at Bello being Bello, your co-host of the Wednesday locker room. I'm thankful that Stevie's doing great things. He could join us today in the chat room, and that Strangler Steve was here to guide me through this match, because I needed somebody to lead me today. Definitely. I didn't feel like doing all the heavy lifting. So, y'all infidels, you know where it is. Hacker Hamin on your iTunes, Spotify, Hamin Media Group on YouTube. Let's get those watch hours up and subscribe to everything at Stevie Ray TV. We're going to keep producing nonstop around the clock here in the new media front as we continue to take over, infidels. Y'all.